Hey, 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 hey. I got some serious, when I talk about next ones up superheroes in the studio, Visions Unlimited Studios tonight, Thursday, right here at 7 p.m. with my very own Community Connections Conversations. And I'm going to hurry up and get these superheroes in because I know you guys don't want to look at my ugly face. But what is our purpose for this evening? Purpose is to inform, to connect, to empower, to engage. And I just heard a word at Kwanzaa the last night, participate. And my favorite one is building relationships. You got to surround yourself with something that's going to level you up. If you're in a circle and you the highest peg on the board, you're in the wrong circle. All right, so let me do this. Tonight, I got a special invite from my very own Ieshia Hayes. And she sent me this text message. She said, friendly text thread. Hey. And she waved at me. I want to share an opportunity with you. But what was funny is I think I'm outside the parameter of the age. Teen Health Mississippi is hosting Youth Capital Day on January the 20th, 2026 at the Mississippi State Capitol. Mississippi State Capitol. Mississippi State Capitol. Where's our Mississippi State Capitol at, Ieshia?
Y'all, it's on Congress Street.
Okay.
I think that's right. Yeah,
is it Congress Street, brother? Out of X.
Okay.
Out of X. We got our historian here. Out of X. What goes on at the Capitol, at the Mississippi State Capitol, sir?
Especially at this time.
Yes,
from
sir.
January to what? April.
Yeah.
To April. Bills are getting passed.
The major
people
hustle.
lying, cheating, doing everything that they trying to do to either hold us back or move us forward.
Did you say they doing what? They doing what again?
Lying, stealing, cheating. They doing everything up there.
What they say? Everything under the sun.
Everything under the sun. But
and
they're also writing the next set of bills that will affect you for as long as they continue to be on paper. So you need to be there and you need to be aware. I understand some of us may not be able to get there all the time, but you at least need to be there some of the time.
Any of the time.
Yes.
And they've got other ways of checking in. I think they've got social media. Be sure to be tuned in, tapped in, connected on your Facebook pages, your IG pages. Also, they should have websites. Is that correct?
They do have website, bill tracker.
Legislation.
Okay. And Miss Ieshia, man, I'm trying my best not to say goddess. I am trying. This is a professional show. This is an 8 to 5 show. But anyway, why are you all choosing the Mississippi State Capitol for this particular event or experience? I'm not going to use the word event. Event is something that comes and goes. Will you define what an experience is with all the things that you're engaged in?
Oh, wow, that is a great question. And I love that question. And not to talk about my career, but just to do
it is so hard not to, but let's move it.
So
yeah, you got so much going on, but go right ahead. Right? Okay, that's gonna be another show, you guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be another show, y'all. But I do want to talk about this because when he asked that question, it just ties into that. But I have a film company called Major Experience, and so one of the things I always tell people about myself when I meet people and when I interact with anybody is that it's not just like a regular interaction. It is an experience. I feel like I give people an experience. And so I feel like even with this experience for Capital today, a lot of people, they don't get the opportunity to either do things, whether it's related to policy, maybe even go to the Capitol, or even experience mobilization. And so when you...
Wait. What was that word again?
Mobilization.
Okay, hold that thought.
Okay.
Out of X, what is mobilization for the junior, what's the word? Junior? The population that my Miss Ieshia Hayes engages with.
I was sure like,
well, you know what? Meme is not, a meme is not meme to me.
Oh, okay.
M-E-M-E is me. That's a 63 baby interpretation.
Okay.
But go right ahead, Out of X.
Mobilization, is the act of showing up and being present to make your voice heard, either against injustice or pushing for a particular injustice, or just highlighting that something is going on and everybody else needs to be aware.
All right, continue on, Miss Aisha.
And thank you for that great explanation and definition.
I got the historian on the
Look,
couch.
I'm saying,
So
and I know
got
he was gonna give it to you straight. That's why I was like, he asked the right person because he know. But yes, exactly what he said. And so when young people get to do that with each other, the experience that they get, and that's honestly what it is. It is literally a real life experience where you get to share other people's thoughts, their concerns. You get to share their troubles, their passions, their resolutions, their problems, and you get to take it to people who are supposed to really be making an impact on your life, on your futures. And a lot of times, especially like this generation Gen Z, we don't really think about the fact that there are certain bills that may affect the fact that I can't get groceries, or affect the fact that I'm having to constantly buy tires because my tire is constantly popping because of the potholes. So these small environmental facts that we just don't think about that are affecting us in our daily lives, we bring it to life through this experience, and we show young people like, why is it important for you all to show up and use your voice. And a lot of times young people are like, oh, I have a problem with this and I have a problem with that, but they don't know who to go to. They don't know how to voice their concerns. And so what we do is not only mobilize these young people by bringing them to the Capitol with us, but we teach them how to advocate, we teach them how to use their voices, and we teach them how to lobby, which again is going back to getting in the faces of the people who are supposed to make these problems either go away, make them better, just make life a little bit easier for you. And so that is what this experience is about.
Okay, and now X, give us a little chime in on lobbying. How can 15, 16, 17, 18, 12-year-olds lobby?
Well, there's different ways you can do it. You can either do it with dollars, or you could do it by being in their face and being an actual example of either the harm or benefit that particular bills have done for people. For example, if I pass a bill that, say, has brought more money into public schools and made it easier to reopen buildings or something, I can say, I bring in a 12-year-old or I bring in a 9-year-old, and I'll be like, hey, I'm one of the new students that was able to benefit from the fact that you passed that bill. And we're going to show you all the people you've benefited. But I also could bring in people who have other stories to tell, such as what would happen if the bill to fund private school vouchers were to come through. I could be one of those many students harmed by the fact that now my public school doesn't have money to get me new books or get me new software that's necessary for learning. Right. So lobbying can it's about a lot about stories. Some people think it's just about money, but a lot of it is about stories related to that so-called money.
Okay. And Miss Aisha, why is it so important to have our middle next ones up engage in lobbying?
So that's a great question. It's very important.
I know I don't have no two great questions. You are so kind.
Seriously.
Okay, go right ahead.
These are all great questions. So it is very important for like the middle age and even the upcoming age for like your middle school students, high school students, and even early college students to know what lobbying is and to participate in it, because as you all are growing, and that's exactly what you're doing, you are about to experience what real life feels like,
Sooner than you think.
Sooner than you think. And a lot of times, and I will say I don't like to get on this subject, but because this is something that even in what we're doing, the Mississippi Youth Council, they're focusing on this. We see a lot of our young people, specifically our young Black men, in relevant crimes related to like gun violence. And so as they're growing up, they're finding themselves into spaces that may not be very positively influential. And so if they're not in spaces like this where they don't understand how laws are put in place to I don't want to say destroy them, but to destroy them, because that's what it's doing, right? And I mean, it's a law. It's a law to protect the people, but it is destroying you and your future because you're not making the right choices. And so when you are in a space where you can learn the importance of these laws, and you're in a positive space, like you are able to you are able to, like, of course, know the right thing to do. You're able to be around people who can support you if there are resources that you need. And I know, like, a lot of times when it comes to young people either not showing up or being in situations that they're getting in trouble in, they either don't have resources or they don't have, like, support to get the resources, because they may know about it but they just don't have that support. And so it's just important for young people to want to be there so that people can want to give you those resources and people can want to show up for you.
Powerful. Brother X, why is it so vital that someone like Miss Ieshia Hayes is the bridge between myself, the 63-year-old, the 60, I'm 62. I'm already eating another year. To bridge the gap between the 62-year-olds down to the 15, 16, and 17-year-olds. Why is it so vital for her to be in the middle of the elders and the next ones up?
Well, I mean, the best way to put it is that, one, I could say to the audience, between whatever age they at, it's usually the age is a little bit older, but there was a point in time where they were young people. And they have
Thank
to
you. Hold on. Thank you, brother.
I like
I didn't just show up being 62. Thank you.
Nobody was born
okay.
at that age, but also a lot of the movements that we now take advantage of, like the civil rights movement, like the Black Power movement, or Black freedom struggle, as we'll call it in general, was started by people who were in their teens, in their young adult years. Stokely Carmichael, for example, when he got started in 1961. Really, you can go back to the 1950s, but he got started in 1961, 62. He was 21 when he gave his first speech. When he gave the speech about Black Power, he was 26.
Wow.
I'm 27. Fred Hampton was 21.
Hold on, Miss Ieshia, I don't give me a range of your age within 5 years.
Ask women their age.
I know, just a range, just a range. You don't have to hit it on the knob.
I'm in my 20s.
Okay, okay. So she's a revolutionary.
See, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you feel like a revolutionary?
Yes, of course. I feel like I was born a revolutionary.
Look out now. Look out.
The womb revolutionary.
Okay, okay. Proceed, Brother X.
Yeah, and so those people who are older need to understand they were young people. Most of the people that were responsible for a lot of the big movements were in their 20s. They were young. Like I said, Fred Hampton was 21 when he started doing what he was doing. When he built the Rainbow Coalition in Chicago, when he was taken out by the racist FBI and Chicago police, he was 21 years old. And that the people doing all that work, A. Philip Randolph, when he got started doing his work, he was in his 20s working with the African Brotherhood and all these other people to push for a new way for black people. And that it doesn't just have to limit itself to black people. A lot of those folks during the Vietnam War movement, anti-war movement, they was in their 20s. When they was drafting them young white folks, them white people, man, they was 17, 18 years old.
True.
And them white boys were burning them draft cards, and they said, we will not go.
Right,
18 years old. So we need the young people, my age and a little bit younger and older, to bridge that gap by saying, well, hey, young person that's younger than me, you're going to be me one day. An older person that's not me anymore, but has benefited off of the things that came before me. If the buck stops going back, if we stop feeding into the people that come after us, then what was the point? We'll be back in the same thing.
I am trying my best not to say goddess. Ieshia. Ieshia. Do you have to fight in spaces where the elders are more the majority? Or do they receive you because of all the work that you're pushing and pulling out into the community?
I feel like that's a two-part question, so I'm definitely going to answer both parts.
Okay.
I definitely feel like I do have to fight in spaces with older people. And I won't say the name of the event, but I was at an event a couple of weeks ago. And
hey, they already know. Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
I know what it means.
We want everyone listening and viewing. This is a teachable moment.
It is.
Okay, go right ahead.
Constructive criticism, because I told them the same thing, and I use this event for to prepare myself for my event, because I have a conference, a youth summit coming up, so like a semi-conference. But anyways, it was at the Black Leadership Summit. Yes. And so now the summit was great. However, there was like this particular breakout session activity that we had to do. And I was like, oh, great, we're doing something constructive so that we can like do some building together. And my group was a very large group. So we actually had to split up because it was so many of us. And so a lot of the people who were in my group, they were older. And
Now, when you say older, what was the age range?
so I want to say between had to been over 25, but I'll say 25 to about 65.
Okay.
Because there were some older women there.
And you were the lead on this?
So I wasn't a lead. We were all working together collectively.
Okay.
Because the topic was very broad. So we had to basically the goal of the project, well, the activity was to figure out like how can we find solutions to it. And I think the one we had was like civic engagement policy and rebuilding trust. And so I'm just like, with what we know, of course, one of the things that we always say is that young people don't want to be involved, or just not even young people in general, even older people, especially when we think about election time. A lot of people don't really show up to the polls. And so we do a lot of GOTV. And so we were just trying to focus on strategies of how to do that. And so I felt like, to make a long story short, when we were having this discussion, I felt like they were focusing more so on the problems of what's wrong rather than trying to find a strategy. So it's like, after so long, because I think we had like 15 minutes, right? So think about it. You have 15 minutes to think about strategies and how to rebuild something. And I'm like, okay, if we spent half of our time talking about problems we already know about, we only have so much time to think about strategies and solutions. And so I had basically just gave them my deal, and I was like, well, how about, instead of us like saying like this isn't working, maybe let's think about why it isn't working, right? So we know that young people or anybody, they don't want to get involved in policy, but why? Maybe they don't have transportation. Maybe maybe their parents are working all day. They don't even have an opportunity to get a ride to the Capitol or to the event, the advocacy hubs that we're hosting, or to the free conferences, because they just like they don't have anybody else to take them. And we're just saying they don't want to go. That's not fair. And so what that does is when you target a person and then put a stereotype on them, now you're eliminating their passion, you're eliminating their opportunity, and you're eliminating their will to want to do anything. Not just that event or that experience, but anything, because you've outcasted them. And so that's the first issue in the community. And so when we were talking about issues with policy, I'm like, wait a minute, we just skipped our issue.
Yeah.
Our issue is that we outcast people before we even understand what the real problem is.
So my thing is, what leadership summit? I came to it when it was hosted in November. I came to it that year. My issue is with it this year is just another way that they outcast you is they put it at 10 o'clock on a doggone Tuesday. And you know what I was doing? I was teaching. So how was I gonna be there?
Yeah.
I work for. I'm with a union. I'm unionized. So I'm a working class leader.
Right.
So why am I not at the conversation?
Right.
And where was I at?
And I think, and so for me, like, and I actually spoke with one of the organizers of the event, and I was telling her, I think one of the great things to do, because I know even in my organization, right, we do a lot of like surveys and stuff. And I think from my past experience, like, I've been so big on finding opportunities to get out in the field and do the work, because you miss so much when you don't get active when you're not actively in the community. Like during this time for Capital Day, I like to go to schools. I like to talk to principals, even if none of their young people
you have
come.
to you have to touch your audience.
You have to touch your audience. And so, like, for you sharing your experience, like, man, I wish I could have been there, whether I liked it or not. But I couldn't because I was working. I was teaching, students. I was teaching class. And so maybe like an organizer, like, after hearing this, maybe they'll be like, I'm not going to take that as you have a negative outlook. No, I'm going to take that as, okay, this is the opportunity for us to grow, because when anybody's having an event, you want more people there. So what opportunities can we get more people? Maybe having it on a Saturday, right? Maybe not too early, but at a decent time that everybody can come. Or if you want to still do it during the week, maybe have it on a Friday and Saturday. So for the people who can make it the first day, at least they have another opportunity to come on that weekend where their schedule is less likely to be busy. But again, to the other point, like showing up to those schools, or making those phone calls, or just partnering. That's another thing. Like, a lot of us, we don't partner. And just to go back to the other question, because I don't want to talk too much about the leadership summit.
Go right ahead.
But the other question about, do they receive me? I feel like older people, do receive me, or just receive my generation. Sometimes I feel like they don't understand understand us. And that goes back to just assuming that you do understand, so you leave with your perception of what you think we said or what you think we feel instead of asking.
And,
And that plays a lot into proper communication.
and to be honest, we are stuck.
Yes.
I'm stuck as a parent. We're
Yes.
stuck.
And
We're
that too.
stuck. I mean, I'm stuck with my 23-year-old.
Mhm.
I want him to do what we used to do, how
it's
we
not
used to
gonna
do,
work.
and it's a totally different world.
It's not
Okay.
gonna work. And, oh my God. And I think that, and I was trying to stress that to them because they even was like, well, y'all like social media. And I'm like, I get it. It's 2025. You know, well,
2026.
yeah, it's 2026
Yeah.
now, but I'm like, I get it. Back then, I was like, well, last year, I'm like, it was 2025. I was like, but social media doesn't work for everything.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. And I was like, when it comes to this type of work, community organizing, policy,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just anything related to just getting out to talk to people, social media is just not gonna cut it. Like you can do certain things that get young people interactive, but I feel like too with a lot of organizations, especially if they're like probably like super non-partisan, or even if they're like kind of like churches, right? They stick to their morals. Sometimes what they feel like they have to do with social media is stepping out of their morals, like it's stepping out of their code. So still in that lane, you got to think they may not do certain stuff that's going to reach people. They may not show up to clubs or make certain like content videos that are gonna reach young people because they feel like it's out of their morals. So what other strategies? Again, one of the things I will say that I agree with that people did back in the day was using those old methods of communication, showing up in people's faces, showing up to the schools, showing up to the people, knocking on doors, going to parks. It does take extra work, but when you are trying to achieve something and you really trying to make a change, you have to be able and be willing to go that extra mile to reach the community and reach people. But what I hate to see, and even in myself, I'll tell myself this, I'm like, don't make an excuse, or don't make a complaint, rather, excuse me, don't make a complaint about something if you're not willing to show up for
Ooh,
that person.
powerful. On the annual My Council Capital Day, this is the second paragraph. That was the first paragraph we just did. Okay, the second paragraph. Youth can participate in person or virtually, and community service hours are included. If you can't come to Jackson, you can still sign up individually and help with virtual lobbying and youth mobilization through the Mississippi Youth Council. Will you give us a little insight on that paragraph? Do I need to read it again? Are you good? You sent this to me, so you already know this.
Yeah,
On the
I
second
do.
paragraph about participation in person or virtually.
So, and I will say, like right now, because it's so close to our big day, we are most likely not going to be accepting any more in person.
Wow, already?
Yeah, like we
Hold
have
on.
about 40
Let me
people.
get my Kenya people in here on that. Okay, go right ahead.
Yeah, we have about like 40 people signed up, and that's including like our youth council. So I mean, that's like a lot of young people
Okay.
showing up to the Capitol.
And this is throughout the entire state or just a
Throughout
certain?
the entire state.
Okay.
We got young people, of course, locally in Jackson, and we also have some young people coming down from Oxford, so they're going to be down here mobilizing with us. We are possibly going to have some young people from Piney Woods come. I'm waiting to hear back from them, and there's also another educator who wants her young people to come down from Greenville. So we are really trying to make a big impact with not just the bills, but with the young people with the mobilization. But on the other side of that, in that paragraph, as he read, you can also participate virtually. And so the great thing about that is that although we may have a stopping point or a limit to how many people may be able to come in person, the mobilization doesn't stop there. No, we want other young people to want to participate virtually. So we're still looking for about excuse me, sorry. We were recruiting for about 40 young people to work with us virtually. So to
Okay.
mobilize and lobby virtually.
Okay.
And so we were still going to give them the same community service hours and possibly an incentive for their participation. So it might be a little
Wait,
money.
say that again. And a what?
An incentive,
a cookie.
y'all.
You get a cookie.
You get a cookie for participating. Yes.
Brother Otta X, would you please look at your pamphlet and would you read about the annual My Council Capital Day?
Oh, yes. What's the date?
Did you get that page? You got that page in your
January
page? Keep on. Okay, you got it. Go right ahead, sir.
Well,
Go right ahead.
I didn't get the date on it, but
January 20th.
January 20th. Okay. January 20th, Teen Health Mississippi is hosting their annual My Council Capital Day. Are you ready to step into leadership? Join other young people who care about taking action and creating real change. there's a QR code on here. She's gonna send that out to y'all. Scan the QR code or email Teen Health Mississippi to complete the interest form, and we'll connect you with everything you need to get involved and make an impact. What's in it for you? Develop organizational skills, engage in meaningful conversations with policymakers, learn how to analyze information, answer questions, and solve problems. Connect with driven youth leaders like you. Build communication skills and receive support from mentors and peers to bring your ideas to life. If you need somebody to contact Miss Ieshia Hayes.
Man, she blast. Say that out. Say that with some pride. Ieshia Hayes.
Ieshia
Contact Miss Ieshia Hayes, Youth Engagement and Advocacy Manager. Ieshia at teenhealthmississippi.org or teenhealthms.org. 601-487-1228. That's 601-487-1228. Now, y'all youth teens, y'all need to be at this Capitol Day. This concerns y'all. Every bill that go through there concerns y'all in some way. The one about school choice, that's going to impact y'all. The one about teacher pay, that might impact your parents. That might impact your future teachers, because we need some money to teach y'all. And y'all just need to be there and learn some skills. You can put that on your resume.
Oh, wait.
Yes.
Miss Ieshia, go right ahead. I know you got you. Go ahead. He hit
Look,
one
he
in.
did. I was so glad you said that. One of the things
First of all, what did he say?
he said you can put it on your resume.
We stressed last week about we're working on this year communication, hearing, and listening. So when I hit you with that, you were listening.
Yes.
Go right ahead. Break it down for us.
So what he said to any young person listening, or even any parent, like, I don't know if you all stress this to your children, educators to your students, but it is so important for young people to start learning how to build their resume so that they can be prepared for the real world and for the next level when it comes to being career ready, and also just being ready for internships and also for other opportunities. Because a lot of times when you're applying for something, they'll say submit a resume, and a lot of times the young people, they don't even know what a resume looks like or what type of font it should be in. How should it be not filled out, but help me out, brother, help me out.
She tagging you in out of X.
Formatted. Thank you. I was like, it's at the tip of my tongue, I can't get it out, but yeah, they don't know how it should be. It should be formatted. And so this opportunity, especially like if they never like had a resume, right? For me, it makes me feel proud that this is one of the first things they can say, oh, I did this. I can put this on my resume. And no, it's not a job. No, it's not an internship, but it is a community project opportunity that you did. You earn community service hours. And if you are a high school student and you're going to college, you can use these hours. They're transferable. So just because you did this year, that doesn't mean 2 years from now you can't use it. What I always tell people, I am a service. I am a mentor. Like, call me if you need me, text me, email me. And so I tell them, like, if you need something verified, all you have to do is call me. Like, I give young people my number. And I know a lot of people, they say like, oh, I don't do that. It's a lot, because it is a lot. Having over 40 young people call you or tell you they need something, or whether it's a LOR, a letter of recommendation, or just anything, it is a lot. But I do it because I remember that I was a young person who needed somebody to call, and I couldn't think of anybody. And so I always extend myself to the fullest. I don't care what time it is. If you need me, call me. Now, if it's too late, but I say that to say that, like, with this opportunity, like, it's so good to get those young people ready, again, outside of just the policy scope, but for the real world, for their careers, for anything that they're trying to do.
So there's a lot of networking with that.
A lot of networking.
Would you dive into what's in it for you? You just did that, but a lot of times it takes us 3 times of hearing it. And before you do that, make sure they know who you are and how to communicate with you and how to follow what you all are doing.
Most definitely. So, of course, who I am and what I do in this role. So I am Ieshia Hayes, as he already said before, and I am the Youth Engagement and Advocacy Manager at Teen Health Mississippi. And so basically in my role, I am the person who does a lot of work with community partners, ensuring that we have strong partnerships. I work a lot with the youth that we have in our programs. we have different programs. So I'm not the only person who coordinates a program.
Give us a couple of programs, additional
Most,
programs. Go
most
right ahead.
definitely. So the program that I'm actually over, you all, which requires you to be 15 to 20 to apply, it's called the Mississippi Youth Council, also known as MyCouncil. That's what it's short for. We also have programs called More Than Me. More to Me is a program that focuses on like juvenile young people who have possibly maybe gotten in trouble a couple times and they need a little extra support. And so instead of putting those kids in positions where they have no space to grow and learn, we thought it was so important that we took those young people and gave them resources so that once they got out of, that juvenile or detention, that they go back into the world feeling confident, feeling better about themselves mentally and physically, and just with their overall health. And we also prepare them for like work readiness and things like that. We have something called Work Wonders. That
Damn.
my
Oops, I said
colleague,
I said I wasn't gonna say a bad word, but man, you guys are y'all digging.
And we also have something called Delta Thrive. And so a lot of our programs, they focus on bringing a lot of initiatives to the Delta, because one thing we do know is that the Delta is a I don't want to say privileged place, but they are it's a place where they lack a lot of opportunities. And so at Teen Health Mississippi, we believe that the young people in the Delta deserve an opportunity to have the same things that people in Jackson do, regardless of what you look like, where you live, any of those things. And so to break down the next question, what he asked me about,
you listen well.
yes, I do listen well,
Okay.
and that's what I'm working on 2026, y'all. So the next
y'all be
thing,
careful what y'all say around Miss Ieshia Hayes.
Okay. So the next thing that he mentioned, what is in it for you all? And so of course we talked about the community service hours. We talked about the experience that you all would get with the mobilization. You get to meet young people that you probably never met before. And so one of the key things that Mr. Howard said was networking. A lot of these young people outside of my council who are showing up, they do a lot of things in their communities. And you may be a young person who may not be doing anything, or who may just, want to explore more. This is the opportunity for you to open your mouth and say, hey, what it is that you do. And even outside of school organizations, they may have a business. You'll be surprised how many young people are running, as young entrepreneurs, running very successful businesses. Like one of the young people that I was actually a mentee for, literally a couple months ago, didn't even know this young lady had a business, and we're not that far in age, but she has a very successful business. She's a very hard worker, and she's now working. She's also working in a nonprofit, but she's doing so well for herself. But because even at her age, like she thought, like, oh, you do this, how can I learn more about that? And so when she started learning more, she started telling her friends, friend, you can learn more about this. So it's about networking and also sharing that conversation with your peers so that all of you all can be in that same work, doing maybe not the same thing, but doing the same kind of work to get the same kind of outcome.
Powerful. How you got something to say to that, Mr. RDX?
Man,
I mean, that's work.
Yeah.
That's work. How long have you been in the circle of Teen Health Mississippi?
So wow. So I actually was a youth partner with Teen Health. And so that's what we call like young people who are like in our programs. We call them like youth partners because we feel like they're a part of like the work we do. Like because of them, this is how we're able to make this happen. And so I started with Teen Health in 2015. And I don't mind sharing this because
Wait. You started out at the bottom? In the basement?
In the mud. Like real grimy and dirty.
You getting it out the mud?
I was getting it out the mud, y'all. And so this
and excuse me, and your title now, your role now, not a title. We don't do titles.
Yeah, we don't do titles.
Your role now is?
My role now is Youth Engagement and Advocacy Manager. Okay?
Look out. And you started at the bottom?
At the bottom. And I
ain't
do
no
want to
way
brag
you started at the bottom.
Yes, and I'm not going to lie. I do want to brag on myself a little bit, y'all. I got promoted within a year, so I love it. I only been with them a year and got promoted within the same year, so.
Go ahead.
Says a lot.
You'll be ready to retire in another 10 years.
Look, career readiness, I'm telling you, it's a thing.
So I'm going to ask you and X, why is it so important, and you can pick who speaks first, Miss Ieshia, why is it so important to not be discouraged by starting in the mud at the bottom? Who you want to go with that first?
Who you want to go first?
I'm gonna let you. Go ahead. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna let you go first. I've
Okay.
been talking a little minute.
I mean, I'd look at it like this. I mean, there's no shame in understanding your origins. You know, not everybody.
Man, this brother's so deep. He's so deep. Somebody hand me a ladder so I can climb out, so I can reach higher. Go ahead, brother.
Not everybody. I mean, we hold up a lot of. You can tell people, hey, I was at the bottom just like everybody else, and I was able to get there. My origins don't define me. What defines me is what I do with those origins. Now, if I stay at the bottom and stay not being nothing, then, well, you know, you just disappear off the face of the earth.
Powerful. All right, you're gonna pass the baton over to your compadre.
Of course.
Thank you. For me, I think I would say this quote that I was literally just thinking about in my head. Do not judge the experience that has not been lived, and do not continue to live an experience that was once judged.
Mhm.
So that basically just means like I cannot, like with the example you gave, I cannot judge somebody for a job that they have. And a lot of you don't know, like garbage drivers and even the guys who work with the garbage companies, they make a pretty good decent living. You know, people judge them because of their job, because they're picking up garbage, but you don't know how much they're making. Like, I think at one point they was making more money than me, and I was feeling some type of way. You know what I'm saying? And then even on the other side of that, like, you come from a place where you probably didn't have a job for a long time and you just got something, but you're still living a stagnant life. So maybe you're not being responsible with your money. Maybe you're not, doing really positive habits to keep yourself on the right track. And so now you just came from a dark place. Why do you want to stay there? And so I feel like with that question, you have to know what it feels like to struggle. But even when you know what it feels like to struggle, that doesn't mean you have to stay there.
Oh, stuck. Get about it, stuck. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to play a little video from you all's executive director. This is 6 years old, so I don't know if this person is still the executive director, just to give a little insight to some of the other venues, and then we'll come back and you all will chop it up, and we want to make sure that we want to reiterate about the event that's coming up on the 20th. So right now we have an understanding that in person, those slots have already been taken.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Those slots have already been taken. But virtually, there's still room to participate.
There's still room to participate, and we would love to have you all with us.
So explain to me, how do I go and sign up to be virtual? I've got the flyer. That's the first thing, is having access to the flyer.
Yes.
The second thing is, what should I do with my phone?
Scan that QR code. Scan that QR code. And so if you have an iPhone, I do want to say this because it's super important. If you have an iPhone, it's super easy. When you, of course, like save the picture to your phone, whether you get it from social media or wherever you get it from, it'll literally like pop up yellow. It'll pop up the QR code. You press it, you're at the link. Now, if you have an Android, it may be a little bit more challenging depending on what kind of Android you have.
On Androids.
Yeah, it may be a little bit more challenging. So you may not be able to scan the QR code unless you know how to work your phone. And if you don't know how to work your phone, what I always advise people, take that extra step and email me. I check my email. I check my spam. So if it doesn't come to my inbox, I will definitely check my spam, and I check my spam every day to make sure that I'm not missing any emails.
Okay, and how does spam end up snatching some of these essentials?
That's a great question. So a lot of times, because emails that come from other people, like because I work at an organization too, so this is a good example. I work at an organization, so sometimes emails may go to spam because it's outside of my world, it's outside of my environment. So the email doesn't read it as it being safe. So when it goes to spam, it's basically saying this might not be safe. So if it is safe, you need to check it.
Okay.
Because most time when things go to our inbox, we think it's safe.
That is so true.
It's supposed to come, and somebody could be
squeeze through.
they squeeze through. And so spam is really just like a extra protection layer.
Okay.
That's like what it's supposed to be. But sometimes with just it being a regular email, like you asking a question, it gets lost in there because it just doesn't recognize that person. And so that's why it's super important for anybody to always check your spam.
Okay. And how can they get in contact with you via telephone?
Yes. I definitely prefer email. Like, please email me.
Okay.
So
You're
that's
an email person?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a phone person too. So the phone number you can also call. That is our office number.
Okay.
But the reason I say email because I do give people my personal email. Like I was just speaking with me and Otto was just talking about that. I don't mind giving people my number, and I know that's a direct way to contact me.
Get your Google Voice.
Well, I have a work phone.
Okay, great. A work cell phone number?
Yes.
Okay, that way you screen out the garbage.
Yes.
The Fruit Loops.
Right, yes, yeah. But
all right.
I'll block you.
Okay, so you will get blocked. Now keep playing. So we're going to run this little, let me see if I can mic it up and hopefully we can hear it. And let's see. Here we go, guys.
You know why? Because people actually like it.
We can't hear it in here, but
it's
you
not a
guys
chore.
can.
It's intuitive.
Is this the one?
Teen Help Mississippi is a group of young educators advocating for sexual rights in Mississippi.
Let me turn it up.
Teen Help Mississippi has helped me to be more vigilant and more open to new ideas, and it allows me to voice my own opinions.
The youth input is very important. We can't really provide services that are supposed to positively impact young people without having input from young people.
Everything we do, we try to center it around young people. Even our trainings, we're asking them to be a part of our trainings. We're asking them, do you think this is something that adults would need to know about you? So we're really trying to make this work about them. We're trying to make sure that they're at the center of it, and we're making sure that what we do is informed by them.
This is the one about centering youth.
We care about
you know something about
people.
that?
It's another thing to partner with them and support them in their own hopes and dreams. So we do a lot of different projects too, where we're teaching them leadership skills. One of my colleagues works with young people that advocate at the Capitol. We have a group in Clarksdale that's actually educating their peers on sex education, because we know that young people talk to each other. So I think what really makes us special is we do involve young people in our work. We don't just say that, we actually do that.
Are you all still using this process with the youth?
Young people are
are they still holding these kind of sessions?
They are active in all the work that the staff does.
Because this is 6 years old, so they haven't taken that out of the scope.
Folks who were on Mississippi Youth Council who are now serving on the board, and they're not special board members that don't have voting power. No, they're on committees. They're being held accountable and responsible just like every other member of the board.
I get to participate in lobbying, we get to participate in advocacy trainings, we get to participate in networking, we go to the Capitol and we talk to all the senators and legislators, and it means a lot to me because I get to be a voice for those who can't speak on the sexual health that we need in Mississippi.
Our MYCOUNCIL, our My Voice programs are very much an integral part of our program. And even in the work that I do, I work with adults on every aspect, but when it comes down to certain things, I do still have to stop and get input from youth about what will actually reach them, what strategies we need to use. We wouldn't be who we are without teenagers.
Everybody peach here.
Give me that website. I just saw the website. We haven't even spoke about the website. What's the website, Miss Ieshia?
So the website, which is very straight to the point, www. I think I said 3 W's, tehealthms.org. I think that's one of the things I love the most about my organization is everything is super easy to find.
Yeah, it is. All right, this is the video here. Who we are. I think it's about 2 minutes long. And I know you guys have kind of moved from one component to another component, but I just thought it would be important
for. Is a nonprofit organization that ensures that youth have access to high-quality sex education and that youth have access to youth-friendly healthcare services.
Oh, is it? That's the same one?
It is the same one, yeah.
All right, my fault, guys.
One of the things that we do is
it wouldn't be me if it wasn't me.
So we make sure that we empower youth to be able to speak on their own behalf in front of their school officials, but also in front of the legislator.
Oh no, that's 16 minutes long.
When we empower our young people, it helps our state. A lot of young people have left Mississippi because they haven't been able to access opportunities to live a quality life. And some of those barriers have been teen pregnancy.
Wait. Oh, the baby. Hold on. Guys, we found the video. I'm not going to. Did you speak in this video?
I don't think I did.
Okay, hold on.
I don't think
that man looking like a baby. Hold on. Look at that. This right here. Is that you?
That's me.
She is sitting in between the young lady and the brother.
Yep.
And who was that? What's that lady's name in the middle?
IESHA.
Looking like a baby. Miss Hayes, how old were you on this picture?
I think I was like 15.
So you came in as a cohort.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you've butterflied out to this.
I have. I was a part of my cohort for. I was part of Teen Health because I did different ones for 7 years.
This lady done seen herself in a video. That's what I'm talking about, boy. All right, I'm gonna get out you guys' way. You guys got about, man, that's something else. Did you know you was even in the video?
I did. I mean, I haven't watched it in a while, but yeah, I did.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, there we go. Bring us back to IDX. Bring us back to what they have going on the 20th.
All right.
Yes, sir.
On the 20th?
Yes, on the 20th.
The 20th of January. Is there a date on the flyer?
No.
So not
on
this.
No.
Okay, you got another flyer? You sent me the bootleg flyer?
I didn't know it's not the bootleg. It's not the bootleg. I know. I was running around all day today and I didn't have time to make a new one, but I'm gonna make it tonight and I'm gonna post it tomorrow.
Would you please make sure you put it with Community Strong for Jackson MS? Okay. I want to give we've got Miss Carol Ann Elmore White, and Miss White is in Tennessee, and she really supports everyone's platform in the city of Jackson. She said, tuned in, Miss Hayes is bringing a great service to young adults. Let me say that again. Miss Hayes is bringing a great service to young adults. What is it? How does that feel? And she's an elder. How does that make you feel?
That makes me feel good. And you know what I love about that though? And I'm glad you emphasized that she's an elder. That despite how my perspective may be about something, that doesn't deter her to want to congratulate me from
that's grown folks.
You know what I'm saying?
That's grown folk conversation.
Yes. And what that does is it makes the conversation different. So thank you so much, Miss White.
Ooh.
And I need to ask Miss White, does she got some grandkids or something? Because we have a youth, although we talking about Capital Day, we have a youth summit coming up this year in June that's going to be in Brookhaven.
Okay.
And it's for young people all across the South. So you can be from Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, anywhere, honestly, and attend. And that's going to be a bigger event. More people can attend. We're looking for about 100 participants.
Okay, and that's going to, hold on, let me go ahead and book you while you're sitting on the couch.
Yeah,
hold on. And when is the event?
So this event will be June 12th through the 14th.
June 12th through the 14th. Thursday nights are better for you? We ain't playing here community connections conversation. A lot of people need to be connected.
Yes.
Okay, so you want to come out in April or you want to come out in May?
Oh, it needs to be probably like the beginning of April.
The beginning of April?
Really, I can come back.
What's going to be most impactful for you touching these 4,000 people?
Beginning of March.
End of February, beginning of March.
Because we're going to actually stop like the recruitment process probably in April.
Okay, so let's do March we can either do March the 1st or March the 22nd. March the 1st, this tentatively, March 1st or March 22nd.
Let's just put March 1st on there.
Okay.
I might change it.
And this is Teen Health Mississippi. I just want to see if you was listening. I just want to see if you listening. All right. Bring us up to date, Mr. IDX, what they got going on and the benefits of participating with IESHA Hayes. I said the other word in my mind, right? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. All right, go right ahead.
All right, y'all. Be prepared on January 20th to join Teen Health Mississippi and the Mississippi Youth Council at the annual MyCouncil Capital Day. Are you ready to step into leadership? Join other young people who care about taking action and creating real change. Scan the QR code or email them to complete the interest form. They'll connect you with everything you need to get involved and make an impact. What's in it for you? You'll develop organizational skills, engage in meaningful conversations with policymakers, learn how to analyze information, answer questions, and solve problems, connect with driven youth leaders like you, build communication skills, and receive support from mentors and peers to bring your ideas to life. If you're interested, if you want more information, contact Ieshia Hayes, Youth Engagement and Advocacy Manager at Ieshia Hayes at teenhealthms.org or her phone number 601-487-1228. That number again, 601-487-1228. And one last time, because I know y'all not listening, 601-487-1228.
You don't know how to listen.
1228.
All right, IDX, you got 10 minutes, sir. Put it out there in the universe and make it pop. Put some spice on it. Put a spin on it, sir, with Mr. Ieshia Hayes. What's your title? What's your role again? Not a title. We don't do titles. What's your role again?
I am the Youth Engagement and Advocacy Manager.
What does that entail?
So it's actually a new role. And they created some new roles so that we can, well, of course, we and people who would apply in the future, but employees will be able to grow in our organization. And so, but what that role does imply really is just more responsibility. So it's really similar work than what I was doing when I was the coordinator. So same role title. I was a youth engagement and advocacy coordinator, but now coordinator has been replaced with manager. And so what it does is it gives me a little bit more leadership. And so if we ever were
Deserving.
Thank you.
You got broad shoulders. You need more responsibility.
I do.
Go right ahead.
And what's crazy, and I literally was just telling my supervisors when I got the role, and I had really been growing in it. I was telling him I really see how this role has made me want to develop more, and how it has developed me, because like I said, the work I'm doing is still the same, but my leadership scope has changed. The things that I'm able to do, like the decisions that I'm able to make, I don't have to ask, should I do this? It's more of, this is what I did. Let me know your thoughts. And so my supervisor, he has been really helping. Shout out to my supervisor, Justin Lofton. He's also I can't think of it right now, but he's in policy. So I'm gonna tell y'all another time. But yes, he's a oh my God, I cannot remember his position. It's not a superintendent, but he's something in the legislature. I can't remember what it is right now. But anyways, but he's also a great supervisor. And he doesn't like that word, but he's really a great mentor. And he used to be my mentor when I was actually on the council. He was a part of Teen Health. So we all have really most of my coworkers, we've not piloted, but we've came through the organization pipeline through the organization. But anyways, he was really helping me like develop this this sense of urgency to want to like take my role and really empower myself with it. You know, he was just telling me like, hey, like, you have the leeway to do things now. Like, you don't need to ask me, just tell me. And if I feel like something needs to be changed, I will. And I think one of the most important things that I feel like we've talked about during our whole time is communication. And he will always tell me like, it's not about what you say, it's about like how you say it. And as a leader, like, there's certain things you say to me to emphasize your leadership role. You don't ask me things, you tell me things. And then you ask me my thoughts. So like, knowing that is super important. In my coordinator position, I would ask you what I should do and you would tell me what to do. And so that leadership thing, like, is super important. And like, that role switch is super important. But I'm really just like grateful overall to be able to allow myself to grow. And then I want to just shout out my youth council. I feel like with all the things that I've talked about today, I really want to shine some light on them because they've also helped me grow through their transparency, through their feedback, through their challenges that they've probably had, and even through the wins that we've all shared together. I appreciate like their stability and making sure that I'm on my toes, because even with me being their mentor, their advisor, sometimes I don't do everything right. And I think that's the other side of being a leader too. And also being in my position that sometimes I make mistakes. Sometimes I forget to send emails. Sometimes I forget to share a post. And they'll say, "Hey, Miss Ieshia, did you not do something?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, it literally slipped my mind." And with them like either holding me accountable but even still reassuring me like, "It's okay. Look, we know you got a lot of stuff going on, but that's why we reminded you." And so like that support is phenomenal. It is super phenomenal. And I feel like for me to be always transparent with my young people and me teaching them small things like that, I just know that they're going to be great individuals. They're going to be great bosses. They're going to be like amazing lawyers, amazing doctors one day. And they're just going to be great people. And because I know that they respect the accountability piece and they respect the transparency.
So with the youth council, what
Mhm.
is their what is their role / capacity? Like what do you, well, one, like what do they do?
Mhm.
And then how do you think that Jackson needs like their own sort of youth council? Well, not just Jackson. Would you say that every city needs like a youth council?
Yeah, and really, what it's supposed to be like is everybody's supposed to have like a mayor's youth council. Like I told myself that, and I'm probably going to do it tonight, my history on the mayor's youth council. But when I got into this job, I didn't even know there was something that existed. I mean, even with me being in advocacy so long, I never knew about mayor's youth council. Like feel like I've heard of it, but it wasn't broad that, oh, I want to do that. Like I didn't know about that thing even existed. But in certain counties, especially like in the Delta, they still do have mayor youth councils, but some of them have died down because there's no leadership. So and there's nobody keeping up with it. But to answer the second question, then answer your first question, I do believe there should be a youth council everywhere. And I would say definitely specifically a mayor's youth council, because what it does is it allows everybody in that community to be a part of it. It doesn't signify anybody based on race, gender, sexuality, and it gives everybody in the community opportunity. So you don't have to be from a certain like city, I guess to say, to do it. You can be anywhere in that county and be a part of that mayor's youth council. And you can represent where you're from by being on that. And then it gives everywhere in the state of Mississippi an opportunity to say, "Oh, we got this youth council, and these young people, they're on this mayor's council." And so now you have a pipeline of young people going through this council, and they're aiding to policy by talking about issues that affecting them, and you all are working together to solve these problems that young people have. And to answer your first question about what do the young people do in the Mississippi Youth Council, so the Mississippi Youth Council, it is a council of 10 young people, right? And so they do go through this application process. And I always tell young people, it may not seem like it, but it is very rigorous. We usually have about 30 to 40 young people apply each year. I mean, and that's honestly like a lot of people when you can only choose 10 out of 40 people to be on a council. And so it really does require you to be very strategic in how you communicate through that interview process, because a lot of it starts off with how you answer questions, and then it goes off to how well do you communicate about things that affect you. So it's not really about what you know, but it's like what have you experienced, and because of what you experienced, why do you want to change that? And I think for me, this goes back to like just even my learning experience, and not to get off the topic, but through this process of recruitment, it has allowed me to not look at young people for what it is that they do. So, for example, like a lot of young people on our council, they do a lot in their community. They're on a lot of councils. Again, some, like I said, some counties, they have mayor council. So they're on that. They're in things like the Better Club. They're playing sports. They're on mock trial, speech and debate. They have other just different youth mentoring programs where they work with young people outside of school. So they're doing so many things. And what it does is sometimes it leaves those young people who want to use their voice outcasted because they aren't in those organizations or part of other groups. Sometimes, and I have been a person to blame for this. I'll say, well, they don't know enough. You know, maybe they need more time. But if I never give them a chance to be a part of an organization where they can learn advocacy skills, who will give them that chance? Because if I felt like that, somebody else will. And I had to take this year's experience and say, I'm not going to be a leader who leads like that. I'm not going to be a leader who says, you have to know or be a part, and sometimes we don't say it consciously. It's an unconscious thing, right? Because it's not favoritism. I don't know none of these young people at all to say, oh, I'm going to choose you because of this. But it is definitely like an unconscious thing where you feel like, I have to choose this young person who's probably doing a lot because I know that they can add value. But to take away from a young person who is trying to learn or who wants to learn, they add just as much value. And so saying that to say that these young people that are recruited, whether they are on a lot of organizations or not, they add so much value through their personal experiences. And so what they do is when they get on the council is they take their personal experiences, things that they probably went through, whether it was in their personal lives, family, friends, or even in their communities. And we figure out, well, what would be a solution to this? And so once we figure that out, how do we turn this into a bill? We teach the young people how to write bills. We educate them in a lot of other different professional settings as far as like communication, networking. One of the things that young people have to do that I always stress a lot when they're applying is you have to know how to talk to people. And I've only been there a year, but this is my second fiscal year because in nonprofits, the years are a little different. So this is my second fiscal year, meaning that I'm going into my second year of being on the having a youth council. But I always get one young person who really is not a good communicator and they really don't like talking to people, so they're not very social. So networking is super challenging for them. Recruitment is super challenging. My job as their advisor is to give them the skills to do the work so that they can be best prepared. I aid them and support them also in recruitment, and I strategize as well. But my job is to make sure that they're doing most of the work so that they participate in that mobilization. And so one of my young people, they actually had some challenges and they were like, Miss Ieshia, I really just didn't know how to ask you for help. So those were like two communication challenges. I don't like using the word errors or losses because I don't believe in that. But they had a challenge of communicating with me for asking for help, and they had a challenge for going out there and network. And so in my scope of work, now it's like, okay, now I need to do my job. So now we're brainstorming, like, how can you get out here and network? Well, let's think about things that you do. Well, they say, I'm a part of Better Club. I do this, I do that. Well, have you asked those young people about joining? Have you even asked them to do it virtually? The Better Club that the young person is in, they actually need community service hours to finish that program. So this is the perfect opportunity. They don't even have to come in person. So now the young person's like, oh man, I didn't think about that. Well, now now you just did. Now you thought about it. So I think it's very beautiful when, you have young people, sit and think about the things that they're doing, because sometimes it does take the extra step, to tell them like, hey, you have the ability to do this. But outside of the networking, like I said, they write bills, and actually to talk about a little work they did, the youth council that we have now, they've actually written 3 bills. The bills that we are advocating for, the bills that the attendees will learn about, these are bills that a group of ranging from the ages of 16 to 20 young people have written. And so that goes to say that when young people talk about, oh, my voice doesn't matter, or I don't matter, you do matter. We have young people who wrote bills. Now, we don't know if they're going to get passed. We don't know what's going to happen, but we have the drive to know that they're going to get passed in legislation. And outside of the policy work with the bills, we teach and we train our young people to be ready to train other young people. we don't stop with just giving them the skills and the knowledge to be great leaders and communication skills, networking skills. Like, those are all great skills. But how do you get outside of that when it comes to facilitating? How can you educate young people about leading their own sessions? It doesn't matter if they want to go be a lawyer. They need to know how to talk in the courtroom. So all the skills that they're learning will benefit any career choice that they have, whether it's in organizing or even in health. But what it does is it allows them to know that all these resources are going to be useful for anything that you do. And so we also teach them how to facilitate different trainings. And so outside of the lobbying, once this is done, because we know it's done at a certain time, they go and they have their own trainings with young people they recruit. So that's also their networking part. Most times we have about 10 to 20 young people come to the advocacy hubs, and they learn about policy. And the beautiful thing is, those young people sometimes come in those spaces not knowing anything about bills, about policy, about advocacy, and they leave saying, I learned so much today. Like, and it makes me feel overjoyed. And I think the most beautiful thing I get out of it is when they say, my friend taught me this. And they get to have a conversation about something rather than maybe some social media gossip, right? But they could talk about, girl, did you not know that the gun store across the street, that's really like, that's an issue because it's right by our school. So now that might be a piece of legislation that they write to get passed to have that place removed, because maybe they had a school shooting within the past 2 years and maybe nobody connected it, but the school shooting revolved around a young person going to that gun store. So it's small things like that young people actually connect the dots to actually make a real impact, and didn't realize before they came to the advocacy hub that they could do that. And so that's the type of work that those young people do when they decide to join MYCOUNCIL.
We've got Ieshia Hayes. I'm getting choked up because I want to say another word, but we got Ieshia Hayes with Teen Health Mississippi. You are so deserving of the role that you're playing in our next ones up. Adex, I'm going to ask you if you could give us a recap of 3 takeaways from this evening's conversation that will seed us moving forward. 3 takeaways, please, sir.
Well, the first takeaway is that the event is coming up January 20th, and it is filled up.
My guy.
In person is filled up, but they still are looking for virtual participants. Get those community service hours, get it on your resume, and just sign up and be present on that Zoom call. Come on now. Another thing I've taken away from it is the opportunity with the Mississippi Youth Council and with the overall teen health cohort is opportunities for organizational training and understanding how to read a bill.
Wow.
I wish, I didn't learn how to read. I learned how to read a bill in high school.
You be explosive.
I learned I did. I learned, I advocated for Initiative 42 back in 2012 to increase funding for school. But if I had known about Teen Health Mississippi and Mississippi Youth Council, I would have been on there.
You've been a monster.
Been a monster, man. And I think the last thing is just the fact that Miss Hayes is an example of that legacy pipeline. The fact that at 15 she was a part of the cohort. Now is the Youth Engagement and Advocacy Manager. That just shows that their program's working.
Okay.
Yeah.
Their program is working.
The program is working.
Yes. I mean, what do you think? What do you think a last highlight that you want to push?
I think the last highlight that I want to push is that I just want, whether it's a young person, or old person, any person, to walk away knowing that you can do anything you put your mind to. And specifically going back to like coming out of the struggle, no matter how small it is, any small thing is an achievement. I feel like we spend so much of our time and our days trying to do big things that we forget that the small things matter just as much. And so the beautiful thing I love about this cohort, that I love about Teen Health Mississippi, that I love about the environment is that we want our young people to strive for the highest of heights, but we also want them to appreciate the lowest of lows, because it's in the lows where you feel that breeze, and it feels good. But sometimes we forget about that breeze. We forget about that moment that feels good. And I don't want you all to forget about the small moments. And I say that to say that if one of my young people see this, if anybody sees this, them writing the bills, them reaching out to these young people, we've reached out to media outlets to get this broadcasting on bigger platforms with journalists, WLBT, so news outlets, journaling outlets. And so them wanting people to know about what the work they've done, that's big. Even if a bill don't get passed, and we want a bill to get passed, we want all of them to get passed. But even if that doesn't happen, them making these small steps, me doing this podcast today.
Thank you
this
so much
is
for
an achievement.
You're sharing yourself with us.
Yeah, thank y'all for having me.
Yeah.
And I just want everybody to know, it's these small things that we sometimes take for granted because we want that big prize. But it's this moment that we have to continue to honor. And so I think that's what I want to highlight for tonight.
All right, Community Connections Conversations. Curtis Williams, the last mention of a youth council I see in Jackson is 2018. Maybe the new mayor will restart the council. Maybe you all will be the push and the pull, and then he says this because he's a big, and maybe they'll get Lake Hyco open.
Yeah.
He also says that when you all do the summit down in Brookhaven, he would love to show up and film some of the event. That's how Curtis Herman Williams III. He's running in the race with Benny Thompson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell him to please email me.
Okay. She said, please email her, Mr. Williams. Yes,
and I can send him my number and we can contact
in closing,
each other.
I've got one question, and you get a chance to choose who's speaking to who first.
Okay.
What would your 20-year-old something say to your 13-year-old something? And what would your 13-year-old something say to your 20-year-old something? I'm talking to you. That's for you, Miss Hayes.
Oh, okay.
She's just over there grinning. Wow,
I thought you said one of us. Okay.
What would your 20-something-year-old self say to your 15-year-old self? And what would your 15-year-old self say to your 20-year-old self?
Wow. So I feel like my 20.
Who's speaking? Oh, go right ahead.
Okay, because I sure thought this was.
We won't even give you guys a chance to say anything.
Which age is speaking first?
So the age that's speaking first is the 15-year-old to the 20-year-old.
Okay.
The 15-year-old to the 20-year-old. Oh, I'm trying not to get emotional because you're taking me back. but the 15-year-old to the 20-year-old will say, now you don't have to have any regrets. And everything you went through was what your grandma always told you.
Wow.
It was for a reason. And she used to always tell that 15-year-old, which is that 15-year-old telling this 20-year-old that I trust you, I believe you, you're gonna be great. You are gonna be the one to make change. And my grandmother used to always tell me that God chose you. You are a chosen child. And what the 20-year-old would say to that 15-year-old is that you are so strong. You went through so much so young, and there were so many things that you had to go through by yourself that you shouldn't have went through. You were taken advantage of. But God so loved the world that he chose you, and God chose you for a reason. And do not ever feel like your story is your fault. Your story is your story, but what happened to you isn't your fault. And one day you are going to change the world. And it's not about being famous.
Cry up in here.
It's not about being famous, but it's about being known and letting the people know the truth. And the truth is love, and just continue to share love.
Hey, Community Connections Conversations, my very own superheroes. The next one's up. Let me get. Each and every one. I want to thank both of you all for taking time out of your busy, hectic schedules to come in and love on community like you always do. And much success to this particular experience. We don't do events, we do experiences. And that's going to do it. Last but not least, let them know how they can get in contact with you, Ms. Hayes.
You all can and I will also give you all my work cell phone number. You all can reach me at 769-601-9384. Again, that cell phone number is 769-601-9384. Yes. And you can also reach me at my email at Ieshia Hayes. Well, it's not Hayes. It's Ieshia@teenhealthms.org. It is also on that flyer. But again, my number is 769-601-9384. Email Ieshia, IESHA, at teenhealthms.org.
Hey. IDX on the couch. Also, Miss Ieshia Hayes. And we're going to bring back that other after 5 o'clock personality.
Right.
So we can find out what that person is doing. All right, you guys have a great evening. Be sure to connect with us on Sunday. We've got Mr. Gary Brown with the Patton House and Gallery. Another powerful superhero right here in our very own city. You guys have a safe evening.
Hey.